Okay. We're going to talk about 1926 and 1927. But first, we are missing one of ours. Mr. Charles Kelly died on the 14th. And we're going to miss him. He was a good man and a good member of the Lynches Lake Historical Society. Okay. Dr. JD Whitehead Jr. last week came by our office and gave us some figures. And the first operation, now Dr. Whitehead at the clinic over there started in 1938, and the hospital closed in 59. And Dr. JD retired in 86. The first operation was a tonsillectomy, August the 22nd, 1938, and it was Miss Helen Dixon. Okay? The last operation was in August the 22nd, 1960, and would you believe it was 22 years apart? The 22nd and 20 years apart. The first delivery was in September 14th, 1938, and the last one was February the 17th, 1961. Now, the hospital was closed in 59. How come in 61? Well, Dr. JD, Dr. Timmons, Dr. Herman Singletary all had home deliveries, and probably some of y'all get to home deliveries. One of your teachers, one of the doctors could have been one of the three or more, okay? But this one was a nurse. She was pregnant at the time, so she had her delivery in the operating room in 1961. 3,366 operations and 2,006 births all across the street. Okay? Okay. Y'all look at this picture real close like, the next one. The lady in, not red, but on the left. Who might that be? Had a real close friend in Lake City named Annie Myrtle Belt. Now the lady to the right is a good friend.
That's Annie Myrtle's friend?
Yes. The lady to the right is a friend from King Street. This lady on the left dated a young man from Lake City. Now, who might that be? Huh?
Did she marry him?
Look and see.
Did she marry him?
No.
Annie Bell was married.
Minnie Pearl and Dr. JD.
No.
Now, this is what Dr. JD Jr. said. And Mariah went to see Minnie Pearl in Tennessee when she was in Tennessee.
You mean?
They had a close relationship with the Whitehead family throughout the years.
You mean she went to see her perform?
I don't know that. Okay?
She lived here for a while. Did she do some kind of plays here?
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that. Okay. This is before she became famous. Okay? Okay? Okay. Now, we were talking about this earlier. Get your street straight. This is Main Street, Church Tree, Rogers Avenue, Dancing Street, Carolina Avenue, which is right next door. There is a cemetery. Y'all know Mr. Lee Laird. Mr. Lee Laird's property is right there. And there's a little branch that runs right there. And it cuts the property, and there is a cemetery.
Well, you showing a cemetery though, not on Lee Laird, where Lee Laird's house is, then it's to the right and down.
This is Carolina Avenue.
Carolina and
Right.
Okay, it's the street. Part of it's on the street, part of it's where Mr. Lee Laird lived. Okay?
So the word cemetery is not where the cemetery.
No, no. It says all this ink right here just smeared where the property was.
Okay.
Okay?
Where was his house?
The house is not there in 27. Okay? Mr. Carter, Lyde Carter was selling property, opened it up after his mother died. And this is the property. Well, actually, this is the Rogers property, and then the Carter property also. Okay? If you want to look at it real hard, like I got a copy next door, I can give you. And
To get that out of the plat book though,
this is what at the plat book.
is it smudged and all that in the
Yeah.
plat book?
Okay? Okay. Look at this picture. Not much has changed, is it? Okay. Now we'll be talking about Main Street right shortly. But we're going to the banks. The Farmers and Merchant National Bank of Lake City. On January the 1st, 1926, they had a surplus. Now, the Farmers and Merchant Bank was the former Farmers and Merchants, and we had the Bank of Lake City. And also we had another bank, and we'll talk about in a few minutes. The debaters. Now, debaters in 1926 was Elizabeth Severance, Margaret Carter, Edward Durant, and Sheila Carr. They went to the state finals. We didn't have debate when I was coming up. I don't know, Claire, did y'all have debates in high school? No?
declamation time.
Okay. There's a lot of things that made you think that's not in the curriculum today. And one of them was the debate team. The Klan's coming, 1926. This was an advertisement in the Florence Morning News. Okay? They were going to control Florence County politics. 1,800 people. 1,800 people. Lake City, the population of Lake City in 1926 was a little more than 2,000 people. People. Over 2,000 people. So you had a doubling of the population in one night when the Klan came.
But did that many really come?
I don't know
You
that.
remember the Klan meeting that was out, about where the cross is down in the early sixties?
Yeah.
Went, there was a little boy and was scared to death. They were burning the cross and had all the outfits on. Do you remember that?
I remembered one over where Goblin Brothers was across.
This was about where the cross is now, in that field.
Is that why you put the cross there now?
That would come from Clinton person.
Okay. 1925, we were talking about paving the streets of Lake City. Now, they're going to draw a contract for paving the Lake City streets. Now, actually, let's do Main Street first, okay? Down at the beach, we had a Lake City firm called the Lake City Real Estate and Rental Agency that dealt with the property at Ocean Drive. Now, my daddy went down to the beach. He was about 16 years old then. And he went down to the beach with some of his friends. And he looked out at the ocean. And he couldn't visualize it not having stumps.
What does it mean when, in the third line, well, it starts in the second line, Lake City Real Estate and Rental Agency became representatives for the development in the Lake City what?
I couldn't make it out. The lines I couldn't make out.
No, I mean in the Lake City blank.
The blank you couldn't make out.
Right. I couldn't make that out
That's why.
in the newspaper article.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The white wave. Anybody can tell me what the white wave was? The paving of the streets and the marking of the streets.
It was concrete to that,
Okay?
concrete to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay? All right. And we're getting more and more modernized in Lake City.
But people, I can add something about the concrete coming in, is that when they had to dig out for the concrete to go down, and they offered the dirt to the people on each side of the street, and some people took it and some people did not. But it would raise your front yard higher if you took it. And I know Mrs. Rollins' mother,
Miss Hagan didn't accept
she didn't accept
the
it,
dirt.
and the people on each side of her did. And so she was left with a lower front yard than the others. Did you all
Okay.
know that?
They still do.
Yeah, that's why it's lower.
Okay? 1926. The largest enrollment in school history. The Lee School District, which would be Scranton and High Hill, and then the Case District. They came together in Lake City because of why? They didn't have home economics. They didn't have geometry or geography. They didn't have Latin, French, or physics. So they came to, the mothers and fathers saw fit to bring them to Lake City. And it increased the enrollment. Ruby Smith was the school teacher. J. Paul Trueluck, he was principal. Even the superintendent was teaching a class. Okay? Miss Leslie Wembley was a second grade teacher. Class of 1926. Samuel Marion Askins was the first cousin of Mr. Slew. Some more names: Maggie Fulmore, Haggard Floyd, Hassie Tomlinson was all in this class. The first annual, 1926. Okay? Can anybody tell me what Lockaheekin means? Lake City High Annual. Right. And this was the first annual in Lake City's history, high history. 1926. Okay? Remember, they didn't have 11 grades. 11 grades.
1926.
Okay? Dr. Leon Whitehead, back it up. Dr. Leon Whitehead is this young man right here. Sam Askins is here. I think Miss Julia Brooks Neesmith is Miss Catherine Neesmith Truelock, Mr. J. Paul's wife. Rollins Epps, and this was the staff, not necessarily the seniors. The 10th grade statistics. I wish Mr. Harrison Carter was here tonight because this is his father, Harrison Carter. This is Dr. Whitehead, Dr. Leon Whitehead. This is Bud Belt, which is Annie Myrtle's brother. And I think this is Rupert Stewart. I'm not sure. But then look here. Lamar Lee, most intelligent.
Intellectual.
You know, Dr. Lamar Lee. Okay?
Can you go back one? One more. In the first row, there's about the sixth one down, maybe is Clarence Rollins Holloway.
That's Drew Holloway's uncle.
Are the Rollinses and the Holloways related?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, the girls. The cutest girl, and I can't believe this, is Louise Matthews Whitehead, Edgar Whitehead's wife.
No, wait a minute, Louise Hill.
Louise Hill is Dr.
Dr. Leon.
Right, but Louise Hill, Louise Matthews is Mr. Edgar Whitehead's wife. Miss Louise Hill was Dr. Whitehead, right.
Which
And
ones
hey-
are they in the picture?
I don't know the names, the ladies or whatever. Okay, Catherine Cusack. What in the world is that? R.L. Poston. Anne and R.L. Poston's mother. Okay? Most intelligent. And Anne was in my class, and she was most intelligent. Oh, yeah. This is the Bathing Beauties. All right, Sam Mack. Read of it. Come over here and read.
We have a letter to read.
You the expert on bathing beauty?
No. Maybe I'm about to get that age. This letter is dated August 7th, 1931. It says, Dear Esther, have you a bathing suit and beach pajamas and such paraphernalia as are used at the beach that you would lend a friend who has none? Edna Longest and Esther Fester have asked me to chaperone a group of young folk to the beach for the weekend. I have agreed to do it, and since I never go to the beach, I have no beach togs. Dunham tells me that you are just back, so I thought perhaps you would have them. If you object, don't hesitate to say so. And I shall feel none the worse towards you. is signed Cynthia M. Singletary.
Now, Miss Singletary was Durham Singletary's wife.
Dunham.
Durham Singletary's wife. Now,
Yes, where's
yeah,
Cynthia's name?
Punky's aunt. Punky's aunt. Okay. And Drew Holloway lives in Mr. Durham's house today. Also, this is bathing suit. I think that goes underneath this. Okay? This is quite old. I think this is what Miss Cynthia had, and she never gave it back, probably. Okay. Now, our streets are paved and being paved. In the middle of the street, east of the railroad and on the west side, parking can be done on one side only. And space is now painted with the proper angle. Okay? On one side. And we'd catch the devil today, wouldn't we? Trying to find a parking place. And the paving gang is on Thomas Street. And the reason why on Thomas Street was that the shade trees abound both. And it was a beautiful street. We lived, the Daniels family lived on Thomas Street. And Dr. Dexter Evans said the only way you could go to heaven was to live on Thomas Street. All right, we got a bank. We're closing, and we're going to see about another bank. Now remember the Farmers and Merchant National Bank. Now this is the second one, the Commercial and Savings Bank of Lake City. The depositors will get 30% in bank stock. I wouldn't want that, okay, if I had a run. Okay? So actually we had two banks, maybe more than that. The People's Bank, okay? The People's Bank had a run and almost had to close. The run on the People's Bank was a result of the closing of two institutions at Lake City. The Commercial and Savings Bank of Lake City more than a week ago, and the Farmers and Merchants on Saturday. So we're having banks closing left and right. And this is before the Depression. Okay? Peter W. McGinnis was mayor of Lake City in 1927. We had L.T. Coward, that was an alderman or a councilman. Sam Mack's great uncle, Mr. Ed Diggs' father, I.P. McWhite, and Mr. A.M. Parker was in a race against Mr. Hayden McKenzie, Mr. Carlton's father. The girls' basketball team, 1926. Okay? This is when they first started in 1926, with the bloomers and all. Now this came out the annual, the 1926 annual. W. Willie L. Lynch. He's some coward. And he becomes police chief. He was a county policeman, and he was asked to be chief of police in 1926-27. And apparently he lived in Coward and came to Lake City.
Sheriff Barnes, Billy Barnes' daddy,
I can't answer that.
he was sheriff.
Okay. The Citizens Bank. Okay? A new bank for Lake City. Now this is January 6, 1927. The failure of the Farmers and Merchants National Bank. The boys basketball team.
What is it,
And this is in front of the old school across the street. Okay?
Homer Dudley must have done everything.
No, must have, yeah. The boys basketball, now, don't be misled, because the gym was not built in 38, until 1938. They used the warehouses, and you got cracks on the floor, and the ball would hit the cracks and it'd shoot off. So the score, 15-6, and had one person to score all 6 points for Lake City.
Who was that?
A guy named Wall. Don't know his first name, so don't ask me. Here's the baseball team. They had pretty good baseball now. Lake City's always had a pretty good baseball team. Mr. Curtis Floyd was in it. Rollins Epps. Claude Wise, that ran Wise and Moore. Harris Carter, Rupert Stewart. Clarence Holloway. Slick, Stuckey, and Oliver Moore. Okay? The city council passed an ordinance that the children could not roller skate on the streets, because some of them would catch the bumper and get a free ride. Okay? Probably mainly the guys that did it. Okay? The People's Bank. Bit the dust. Okay, we got a park. Now this is what the article said. I don't know which corner. Okay? A church in Main Street. But by 1931, the Sanborn Map Company shows all 4 corners occupied by buildings. So this part was short-lived. The Planters Bank. So we had 5 banks between 1926 27. a surplus of $2,500. That doesn't seem much today, but it was back then. Had the Farmers and Merchant Bank, the Commercial Savings Bank, the People's Bank, the Citizens Bank, and the Planters Bank. Before the Depression. Class of 1927. Jack Birch, Catherine Cusack of Poston, Mr. Dewey Cox, Harris Carter, Watson Duke, the policeman, Curtis Floyd, Louis Hill, Lamar Lee, Louis Matthews, Brantley McDaniel, Horace Knackman, Margaret Rickenbacker, Rupert Stewart, Leon Whitehead, and the rest. A big class. And actually, Lamar Lee was not valedictorian. She was salutatorian, which is number 2 in the class.
Did you say it was valedictorian?
Cleo Lynch. Now, I don't know who that is. No. Carter Gin and Manufacturing Company got a charter 1927, and it's still going today. Mr. J.V. Carter was president. Earl H. Carter was vice president, and Harris Carter was secretary and treasurer. The Coastal League, baseball, semi-pro. We had the Lake City was in it, Hemingway, King Street, Georgetown, Conway, and Andrews. Lake City won the first half of the season. King Street won the second half. Okay, nice and nice, yeah. And the 2 champions of each won the played for the Coastal flag. 1-0, so it was a pitcher's duel. Atlanta had a football team in 1927.
Town football team?
Atlanta had a football team in 1927. Played Lake City to a scoreless tie.
Was that like Atlanta High School or the city of Atlanta?
High school. Okay. If you notice the beginning of the slide where it shows you 1920, Lake City, the Texaco company, which is Texaco. This is where the Texaco station was. Okay? Mr. Paul Caldwell ran it until Mr. Cook, Mr. Dempsey Cook, which was Mr. Smoothie Cook's brother. And he had a monkey. And the monkey spit on a customer one day, and Mr. Cook killed the monkey. Okay, automobile dealerships in 1927. We got the Dodge brothers. The Whitlock family ran a car dealership with the Dodge people. The Rittenbaker, Miss Margaret Rittenbaker's father, ran the Pontiac and Oakland.
Margaret Rickenbacker was Margaret Duke.
Margaret Rittenbaker was my 6th grade school teacher.
But she married a dude.
Okay?
George Duke.
Okay? And then the McLam Price Chevrolet dealership. Now 61. Okay? And these are the different people that the 1926 ad was in the annual. Strickland and Jordan, which is probably the jeweler. Commercial and Savings Bank. W. Flowers. The People's Bank. Birch's Filling Station. Miss Nackman ran a ready-to-wear for ladies. You walk in and you buy things that were ready-made. And the Biltmore Pharmacy. Not the B-I-L-T, but the B-U-I-L-T. The Biltmore. The Adamies, Mr. Simon Adamy, was Miss Margaret Adamy's, Adamy. Weaver's Drugstore. And the next time we're going to have this is going to be in February 26, 1928 and 1927. Weaver's Drugstore.
Dr. Weaver was Dr. Whitehead's wife's father.
Right. Yes. Mr. Alva Whitehead. Alva. Whitehead. Okay? So we have refreshments across the street. See Mr. Dale and meet Zach's girlfriend, Jordan. Thank y'all for coming again.